Breaking today, Prince William doubles down. It's now a matter of when, not if, he strips Prince Harry and Meghan Markle of their royal titles.
They branded it an urgent trip, but let's be real. When Prince Harry's plane landed in London, this wasn't some warm family reunion. It was a full-scale royal alarm bell ringing.
This document is the outline of Prince Harry's demise. It is the end of this wanky, skanky ginger prince.
The prince who walked away from royalty to chase media deals suddenly found himself racing back to the UK, and it wasn't for affection, loyalty, or tradition. He returned because the palace was gearing up for a move he never imagined. A move to wipe him out of the institution entirely. Yes, according to royal insiders, King Charles and Prince William still see Meghan as a bigger long-term threat to the monarchy than even Prince Andrew. The prestigious titles that once shielded Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, are now dangling by a thread. And this time, the whispers aren't coming from tabloids. They're echoing through the palace corridors themselves. Inside Buckingham Palace, where every handshake hides strategy, William's modern monarchy overhaul has officially gone into high gear. V's isn't defense, it's a purge. And while King Charles looks the other way, William does not. With the king battling illness, William has stepped into the leadership role like a CEO, cutting liabilities. And at the very top of that list, the California ex-royals, the Netflix stars who turned royal tension into a multi-million-dollar empire. Critics have gone as far as calling Harry a betrayer of the very institution that raised him. But Harry believed he could leave the royal fold and still keep the royal shine. Meghan believed she could build a commercial empire using the mystique of the monarchy, but the crown they underestimated is ancient, strategic, and merciless when pushed. When the palace cuts you off, it doesn't debate, it deletes. That's why Harry rushed back. Not for reconciliation, but survival. Behind closed doors, William has already taken command of the monarchy in all but name. And this shift is a disaster for Harry, Meghan, and even Archie and Lilibet. While the public sees photo ops and handshakes, the palace is boiling beneath the surface. Charles's health issues have created a power vacuum and William is filling it fast. The monarchy has been hemorrhaging credibility, and at the center of the global drama are two familiar faces, Harry and Meghan. William's view: the chaos ends now. To him, this isn't family, it's brand management. And the Sussex issue, as insiders call it, is draining prestige and public trust. Advisors describe William as icy, calculated, and laser-focused. Inside his circle, what began as quiet talk of a title audit has turned into formal legal evaluations. The mission: tighten the monarchy, sever liabilities, and reclaim control of the royal narrative. Meanwhile, in California, Harry's royal identity is being dismantled silently and systematically. A leaked charity report, one that some claim was crafted specifically to target his credibility, sent shockwaves through his circle. Even more startling, the very first name under review wasn't Andrew, it was Harry. Officials packaged it as administrative review, but insiders say it was a strategic strike disguised as policy. Legal teams at Clarence House have pulled out century-old constitutional tools. The 1917 letters patent the documents that determine who retains royal status. Ink on paper, yes, but that ink reshapes destiny. The logic behind the plan is brutally simple. If you don't serve the crown, you don't represent it. And if your public image fuels controversy, the crown rewrites your role permanently. The palace tested public reaction by trimming Andrew's roles first. When outrage didn't erupt, they moved to phase 2, removing the Sussex titles and marketing it as modernization. Behind those golden doors, staff began preparing scripts for when the truth eventually leaked. But it leaked early. In Montecito, Harry's phone lit up with a message that froze him in place. They're coming for the titles next. What was supposed to be a peaceful week of California sunshine turned into a frantic scramble. Harry was suddenly seen boarding a private jet. No Meghan, no entourage, no PR circus, just urgency. Harry wasn't coming home for family. He was coming home to fight for his name, his identity, his last link to the crown. Insiders say he looked shaken, nothing like the carefree rebel prince he once was. headphones on, staring at headlines he couldn't escape, phones ringing with no answers. Alone, out of the loop, and running out of time. Harry discovered the truth at the exact same moment the public did, and the panic hit him instantly. His stomach dropped. For years, he believed his titles were unbreakable. Suddenly, that certainty evaporated. Even Meghan, according to people close to her, didn't rush to his side. She reportedly told friends, this is his problem to solve. So Harry boarded that jet alone, cutting through storm clouds toward Heathrow, while a single fear echoed louder with every mile. They wouldn't actually erase me, would they? He expected the usual royal choreography when he landed: a driver, an itinerary, a quiet briefing. Instead, there was nothing. No official car, no familiar staff, just cold London air. And cold silence. The palace hadn't simply tightened ranks, it had shut him out. Harry requested an urgent private meeting with his father, a personal appeal. The response never came. Charles was resting. William was unavailable. Translation: he's completely on his own. Courtiers looked through him. Assistants diverted his calls. Even longtime staff people who once bowed and called him sir kept their distance. In diplomatic terms, this wasn't a snub, it was exile. Inside royal offices, strategy files were circulating. Every interaction with Harry was to be formally documented. Nothing casual. Nothing personal. He was no longer viewed as a son or a brother, but as a high-risk public figure wrapped in royal blood. Reporters outside whispered about secret negotiations, but insiders knew the truth. There were no negotiations left to have. The decisions were made. The documents were drafted. The plan was already in motion. And while Harry waited for a call that would never come, a small tabloid headline captured his reality perfectly. The prince who lost his place. But the story started long before this, long before Netflix. Long before the interviews began, with a quiet warning whispered years earlier by the late Queen herself. Those present said her message to Meghan was unmistakable. Titles are earned, not leveraged. It wasn't anger, it was wisdom from someone who had seen ambition destroy royal stability before. Harry once believed his birthright guaranteed him reverence. But as one commentator put it bluntly, when he left the royal family, he became just another guy. Titles don't travel. If you abandon the throne, that gives them meaning. Meghan, however, saw things through a different lens. To her, the Duchess title wasn't duty, it was opportunity. Within months of relocating, their polished royal image became a brand identity. Podcast deals, documentaries, lifestyle launches, drenched in subtle royal aesthetic. To critics, it was Hollywood meets Highgrove. To the palace, it was exploitation. Traditionalists saw a line cross-juicing royal privilege as personal currency. And when Meghan began filing trademarks tied to her Duchess identity, the Queen's old warning resurfaced with the force of prophecy. Behind palace walls, William's advisors used that moment as ammunition. She was told not to do it, and she did anyway. Public opinion turned harsh. Polls showed Meghan's ratings had fallen below even Prince Andrew's. Unprecedented shift the palace simply could not ignore. To William, it was the sign he'd been waiting for. What Meghan viewed as empowerment, the monarchy interpreted as betrayal, and in the royal chessboard, those who challenge centuries of tradition rarely survive the endgame. Royal punishment doesn't come in shackles. It comes in paperwork. Hidden inside the monarchy's legal system is one of the most powerful tools ever created: the letters patent. For over 100 years, it has defined who holds royal titles and who loses them. Now, advisors say it's been quietly reopened not by Charles, but by a team working under William's direction. The plan wasn't dramatic. It was surgical. No public shaming. No fiery announcement. Just a quiet administrative update. One morning, without warning, the titles Duke and Duchess of Sussex could simply vanish. No scandal, no ceremony, just absence. It would follow the same elegant method used after Edward VIII abandoned the throne. Titles softened, roles removed. History rewritten in silence. For Harry and Meghan, it would mean losing everything connected to those titles: rank, representation, royal insignia. Even their children's future standing could be rewritten overnight. In Montecito, that possibility reportedly sent shockwaves through their operation. Meghan's partners feared brand confusion. Harry's advisors scrambled for a strategy. But how do you fight a decision that hasn't been publicly declared? Because, when the Crown acts through law, there is no appeal. William's move to strip Andrew's privileges proved one thing. This is no longer the polite ceremonial monarchy the public thinks it sees. For years, William was painted as the calm, steady heir, polished, predictable. But behind the PR curtain stands a strategist who knows one brutal truth. To protect the crown, you remove emotion from the equation. With Charles recovering and Harry spiraling, William has built a circle of constitutional experts, media fixers, image architects, and legal hawks. They treat the monarchy like a global brand and their mission is absolute: preserve the crown at any cost. To them, Harry and Meghan aren't villains, they're liabilities. Every interview, every podcast, every media deal chips away at the monarchy's authority. And in William's mind, allowing it to continue isn't compassion, it's negligence. Those who know him say his leadership style is surgical.com/precise. He doesn't need to shame Harry in public. He just lets the paperwork do the execution by the time the documents are finalized. The Sussex titles will quietly slip out of the royal recorder erased without a confrontation. One commentator put it plainly: if Andrew's titles were that easy to remove, Harry and Meghan should be terrified. The irony: the same brother Harry once defended against the press may now be the one writing him out of the institution entirely. For William, it's survival. For Harry, it feels like execution. And so we've reached this moment. The royal love story that captivated the world now hangs by a thread and eraser waiting at the edge of their legacy. No royal statement will explain what happens next. No lawyer will confirm it. And Harry's silence speaks louder than any interview ever could. Because royal exile isn't leaving the palace, it's the palace deleting you. Imagine waking up one day to find your titles gone, your crest removed, your name erased from the official record. That isn't exile. That's royal extinction. And whether you adore or despise them, Harry and Meghan are facing a brutal truth. When you trade the crown for freedom, the crown never lets you back in. But it gets worse because the palace may not be the only one distancing itself. Luxury brands that once chased Meghan's star power are now quietly pulling away. And one major French fashion house just drew a boundary she never saw coming. If you thought this chapter was explosive, the fallout has barely begun.